Yo, welcome to the Sinners Only podcast. Obviously, this is not the title and the thumbnail of the video that you clicked on, but I promise it's going to be changed. It's going to be a good one. But we here. We
By the
here for
time
another.
people even click on this, I feel like it'll be changed by then.
Yo,
Maybe,
facts.
yeah.
But we here though, and we are happy to be back. We it's been a rough couple weeks. You know what I mean? So, Chad, yo, how you been, bro?
Bro, I've been good, man. I've been crouching, bro. I've been crouching, cause yo, you the image of good, bro. So I've been crouching. I've
Oh
been
my
good,
goodness,
you
oh,
know.
that's heresy. Oh my, no, do not.
Dang, yo, pod discipline, bro.
Hey, yo.
No man is good. No man is good, bro. Cause
No
I don't
man
want the
is good.
performance coming from me, bro. Yo, I repeated a line that KB said today, and people are like, "Yo, you're a heretic, bro." I was like, "Yo, chill, bro."
Wait, what line was this?
Yo, you know how like at the beginning of Southside Rabbi, they'd be like, "Yo," they'd be hyping each other up. I think
Mhm.
it was either KB or Amin. One of them was like, "This man is so holy. When he walks through heaven's gates, Moses and Elijah will bestow a robe upon him and say, 'We've been waiting for you.'"
Oh my goodness.
Yo, everybody took me so serious, bro. I was like, "Yo, chill."
Dang, bro, they about ready to put you in a stake and burn you, dog.
Yeah, bro, it's crazy though, bro. But it's like it's funny because I know most people when they hear that kind of thing, they're probably like really like like chill. But like I get it when they come and they joke around like that. I get it, bro. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate how they start off every episode. You know what? Shout out to Southside Rabbi. Get me on season 6, bro. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Bro, I feel like, huh? I feel like with like a lot of people, like in Black culture, like usually when you're overhyping someone, like they obviously know you're joking, right? And they just like you're just complimenting them. But I feel like some people can be really like just like uptight when it comes to that. So when it comes to like Christian, like Christian people, is like I feel like depending on the context, it could be very thrown over, go over some people's heads, know what I mean? But
Shoot, bro. I'm just trying to get like you, bro. That's all I'm saying.
no, I'm trying to be like you, bro. Come on.
You look at the Dread game, bro. That's progress, bro.
Bro, I need my hair done. That's what this game needs right now.
Bro, you saw I chopped all my hair off, bro.
Why'd you do it, bro?
Bro, it was down here, bro. It was down
I thought you
here,
were throwing it out. What's going on, bro?
bro. So I don't know. I just got tired of tying it up. I just got tired of tying it up, and I was like, I gotta cut it. Regrowth. Regrowth, symbolic.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Yo, you know what thought dawned on me while I was waiting just now, bro? Yo, this podcast really birthed back in like what was it? What year was this? 2019. You and me went to that chicken shack in Baltimore, bro, and we just started talking, bro. I was like, yeah, that's really crazy. Like, that's what a whole podcast came from that, bro.
Yo, that's how it happened, bro. Like, I mean, people won't be intentional, dog. It's just about the intentional
Yo,
conversations.
it's funny because my whole idea with a podcast was like, yo, I could literally call like instead of calling Josh and you, we could just talk on the podcast. But yo, honestly, I end up finding myself calling you guys anyway during the week, yo.
Yeah. And that's okay. Like I think that's important. I think like being in touch with the people you're rocking with, like keeping tabs on them or at least calling them on a weekly basis, I think is pretty good. So
Word.
I appreciate that.
Yo, what you been reading in the scripture lately, bro?
What I've been reading in the scriptures, man. Me and some of my team, or me and my team, have been like having these like memory verses and stuff
Mm-hmm.
that we've been in. So it's been Joshua 1, Philippians 4:6-7, John 16:33, Colossians 1, I think 5-6. So we've just been like really just trying to remember those verses really. And so like I find myself going back to those probably like a couple of times throughout the week and reminding myself of like who I am in Jesus, like what the God's
Mm.
world despite my effort. um yeah, the fact that like hardship and tribulation will come to the world, but Jesus has overcome the world. That's John
Yeah,
16:33.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I've really been getting into. The past couple days I've been in Matthew, and I just reading like there's I don't know how you do your devotions, but I really like I can't like just like um pick out a chapter
Yeah,
or
yeah.
or something and just read it and then like just read it for like 20 times. I'm mostly like going from like, a few like from like chapter, 3 to like 7. And then I'll just like do that as my devotion and like, read or pick out what sticks out to me and stuff. So really I've just been in Matthew right now. Really just like
Mm.
reaffirming myself. One of the things that like I've been trying to reaffirm myself in this season is Jesus Sermon on the Mount, and him specifically talking about being salt and light, and just being just being a benefit to the world and being a
Mm-hmm.
benefit to society. And I think like as growing in like what I'm doing in my vocation, and growing on with podcasting and YouTubing, it's like, oh, bet like I want to be a light in these certain places, be salt in these certain places. And um
You better be one of those YouTubers that walk around giving money to the poor, right?
yo, that's I don't know how I feel about that.
Bro, you about to go do charity and carry the camera, bro.
Like, no,
So
I'm
so speaking about Matthew, right? So you said you mentioned you're in Matthew, bro. So Matthew has a scripture, right? It is Matthew 16:4. It says it evil and adulterous generation seeks for a sign, right?
mm,
But no sign will be given to it except the sign of Jonah. So he left and departed. So the first part of this, right? I just want to highlight this as an evil and adulterous generation. It kind of reminds me of the topic that we might be pivoting to,
saying
so
Z, bro.
I don't know. I did so from the boomers, from Gen X. I don't know what is this adulterous evil generation, but I don't know. It just reminded me of today's topic, and it just so happened that you're actually reading Matthew right now. So it just kind of rolled. It was meant to be. It was
Nah,
divine appointment.
that'll be here.
So tell the people a little bit about like the topic today, bro. Like, what are we actually talking about?
Yeah. So a couple weeks ago, we kind of talked about. We talked a little bit about this topic. We talked about Gen Z. We talked about um, sort of this idea with like younger people and older people, and how how other different generations can view each other. So in this topic today, we're talking about Gen Z, and me and you are part of part of that generation. You know what I mean? So I think it's only right that we critique our own, or advocate for our own, or we just dive into this conversation. There's a lot of people that have these thoughts that like Gen Z is like kind of like the worst generation. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
it is this generation that doesn't care about God, doesn't care about the scriptures, and doesn't care about holiness, doesn't care about righteousness, walking with Jesus. Like, and so with a lot of different, opinions up in the air, we want to just give a Gen Z perspective on Gen Z, which I think is only right. You know what I
Yo,
mean?
you a Zoomer, bro. You a Zoomer. Bro, you know what's funny? I didn't even know what that meant, Zoomer. Like, I thought it was like an old Gen Z, because you know how they say boomer? Like, I thought a Zoomer meant like an old Gen Z, like, Gen Y kind of person who's in the middle.
Yeah,
Like, I thought that, but it's a Zoomer. I Googled it. It literally just means anybody in Gen Z. It's just what they say.
that's so funny. I guess I'm a Zoomer, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah, but you know what's funny? I feel like people like us born in like 90, let's say 96 to like 99, right? In that age like area, I feel like we're not even like just regular Gen Z. Like, I feel like we're this middle special Gen Z that's like, we grew up thinking we were millennials, and then come to find out that we're not millennials, and then like,
Bro,
we're not really, we're Gen Z, but like, because we hadn't, how I judge it, right, is that we had Instagram in high school. If you had Instagram and Snapchat in high school, you are Gen Z,
yeah. No, honestly, that thought comes across my mind like probably every single day. I'm just like, I'm not like these Gen Z out here, because like in my job, I work with this Gen Z generation, and it's like, y'all different. Y'all are something else sometimes. So
Bro, but what about 2017 Elijah Crouch, bro?
bro, but like that was I would
That was your unhinged phase, bro.
yo, was that my no, that was my before Jesus phase. I mean,
2018. Unhinged Elijah Crouch.
listen. I'm just saying. I think that like, yeah, no, I think this. I feel like 97 Gen Zers are just very, very different. And maybe we're wrong. Maybe we're just all the same in boomers' eyes. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
But bro, what like as a Gen Z and being amongst Gen Z, what has been your experience with this generation that people kind of hate but are praying for at the same time? I don't know.
So I touched on this a little bit when we spoke on it. I just feel like Gen Z, bro. I feel like, and this is, if there's any boomers listening to this or anything like that, they're gonna be like, "What is this guy even saying?" Right? But like, I feel like Gen Z is low key one of the most resilient generations, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, bro. I just remember like we like grew up in such a time where like millennials like they went into the workforce in like around 2008 when all that recession and stuff happened and whatnot. But like, bro, we like grew up in that. You know, we grew up going, you know, through the early 2000s, and we saw everything go from analog digital and like different things that came up with that. We went through like a lot of geopolitical things in like the 2010s. Well, we were still kids, right? This is all happening while we were still kids. We went through 2016 in college, bro. Like the 2016 election in college. Some of us literally like well, I graduated before COVID, but like some people like literally ended up going to school during COVID and stuff like that. And I don't know, like I think about me, like I graduated, I got a job, COVID hit, ridiculous inflation came. Do you realize that like the level of like like economics in America, like with like inflation and everything, was worse 2 years ago than like the Great Depression, like, or it's comparable, if not worse, right? So like we've been through a lot, bro. Like as soon as I grew up, that happened, right? I had to postpone things, postpone my wedding, postpone moving out, like it's like ridiculously hard to buy a house in this New Jersey, New York, like area. It's like ridiculously hard. Things have gotten super expensive, and it's like, yo, previous generations had dollar menus, bro. Like we ain't even have a dollar menu no more. You feel me? Like, like,
Bro,
but like all that to say, the resilience comes from, I feel like, just the hope. Like I feel like we're super hopeful. I feel like Gen Z has found a way, right? Like dug, like imagine you're in tall grass, so just paved a way through it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's everything that we have to do in society is really different than any like other context ever in human history, right? We arguably, on the other hand, have the most convenience, the most opportunities. But like, what are new things that come with more opportunities? You get paralyzed by that opportunity, right? You have so much opportunity, so much options. So many options to choose from, right? For everything, right? So, it's like there's new obstacles that come with it. We are in a unique situation where it's like we saw the world change. Generations after us will have that pathway that we dug through, the tall grass, and walked in, right? The generations before us, a lot of the stuff that they had to go through is completely different than us, right? So all that to say, bro, I feel like the millennial generation, I don't know, man. They've had it hard, but I don't see the same type of resilience that I see like even people younger, like my brother and his friends, right? Like they're super hopeful of the future. They're like, oh, things are expensive, I'm going to work harder so I don't have to worry about that type of thing, right? Like as opposed to other people like man, it's hard. Like life itself is hard, right? I feel like Gen Z is of the innovative mindset where it's like, yeah, this is hard, but I will find a way, kind of thing.
Got you. Dang, bro, you probably just said some controversial words because because I feel like when most people think of those things like of Gen Z, like people are just like, yo, like Gen Z is just like just lost. You know what I mean? Like they're just like, all the things that you said as far as being hopeful and innovative. It's just like some people would go out there and be like, yo, Gen Z is the most lazy, like. They have the most convenience. That means they don't have to work hard for nothing, which is like, it's crazy because I've heard different people kind of talk about the Gen Z experience when it comes to the workforce, right?
Yeah.
And they'll be like, hey, yo, Gen Z just doesn't want to work hard anymore, right?
Yeah.
like they'll be willing, they're more willing to quit a job because they don't get the benefits that they think that they
Yeah,
deserve.
yeah.
And it's just like, dang, like, is that true though? You know what I mean? Is it that, like, Gen Z isn't willing to put up with just any and everything, but they know that they are willing, they can have what they can have the good benefits, they can have the good pay. Like, is
Bro,
that worth?
you know what it is too, bro? I feel like we know our worth kind of thing. Like I've seen older people like just put up with stuff for years sometimes because that's what they were used to, right? But I feel
Yeah.
because we had that convenience, and I feel like the level of generational trauma too is a lot less because like our parents like changed, like because they had way more trauma than we did, right? So our parents tried to give us the best, right? Like literally the best. Well, most of our parents, right? So it's like we definitely have like a lot more comfort, right? So like we're seeking that comfort more too, where it's like this place doesn't like me, this person doesn't like me, I'll move on. Social media probably has an effect on that too, but like at the same time, it's like you go into the workplace and you look who is doing the hardest types of jobs is Gen Z, right? And maybe that's because we're the least experienced right now in the workforce, but the people doing the hardest jobs now are Gen Z. Like you walk on to like any place right now, you'll walk into the office, the youngest guy is literally handling most of the stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get that. So, I mean, with that, like, what do you think, like, the biggest, like, complaints are from, like, critics of Gen Z?
The biggest complaints with from the critics of Gen Z, I feel like, as you touched on, like, bro, like if people see us as lazy and complainers, right? Like, and that probably has to play into the fact that, like, in the workplace, Gen Z people do quit. Like there's like an issue. Well, I got something else. I move up. I get better pay. I go somewhere else, right? Like, and I see that in my own life too, right? Sometimes I do. I guess I could be that person too. But yeah, I think what it is. So you ever work a fast food job?
Mm-hmm.
And you ever have those older folks that just like start yelling because they had to wait like 5 minutes or something like that?
Yeah.
So I think, like, let's say let's you put an older person and a Gen Z person who ordered from McDonald's right next to each other. More times than likely, the older person is going to yell, right, while the Gen Z person is just going to scroll on their phone. I'm might sound a little controversial here, but like I think they're mad that we have a little bit more peace, bro. I feel like they're like older generations they trip because we don't really trip over anything. Like, to them it probably seems like we don't care about anything. Maybe.
No. I think that's good. I think, like, I think, I guess the mentality to not take anything from anyone, right? I think, because like if like you're yelling in someone's face, it's like, oh, I'm not gonna put up with this. Like, you, like, especially if you're working a fast food job, it's like, I don't get paid enough for you to be yelling in my face.
For real.
I think, like, funny story with that is, I worked a fast food job, right? But I hated it. Like, I was a sophomore in high school, and
where were you working, bro? Where were you working? Wawa?
Burger King.
Burger King? Oh, snap!
Wawa, I think it would have been a totally different first job for me.
Ain't no way flat top crowds, bro, was working at Burger King, bro.
Bro, it was. I tell you, I hated it, and this is how I knew I was not meant for regular work, bro. Because I was here. I was like, like, there's certain things you gotta do in that kitchen, whatever. So it's like, whether it's sweeping, whether it's like flipping a fried burger, whatever. And I'm just like, I'm just doing stuff. I'm a like 15-year-old guy trying to figure out, like, life in this new work establishment. And like, you got like the coworkers, the customers just being overwhelming. It took me one time for my boss to be like, hey, this is not how you do this. This is how you do it. I'm just like, I bet I'm not coming back. And I left. I never came back ever again. For me. And this is how, and I was young, right? So I think my like issue with authority was very, very different. But I'm just like, first of all, if you want to teach me how to do something, don't yell at me.
Yeah,
Let me
yeah.
how to do something, right? Let me guide me, help me, whatever it is, right? And so from that first moment, I'm like, you know what? I'm not taking this. And then I left and never quit. And then like my my boss
Oh.
was on the phone like, yo, like I haven't seen Elijah, and I'm just like, yo, I ain't going back.
You ain't seen Elijah ever again.
Oh, me again, bro. There was another moment too when I was a sophomore in college, and no, I was a freshman in college, and I got a job at Tilly's, and
Oh, you look like you used to work at Tilly's, bro.
bro, I got a job at Tilly's, and like it was like the holiday season. I was folding the stuff or whatever, or trying my best to fold stuff, and then like there's this one manager that just didn't like the way things were folded, and she was like, hey, come back and do this. I'm trying to go home. I gotta go to the Toys R Us to like get my kids some Christmas presents. I'm just like, well, you should vote it yourself. Go get out early. And she didn't like that, and I just never got hired back to be a full-time employee because I was seasonal. But it was just like, yo, I'm like, if I don't like something, if I didn't like something back then, I was just not gonna see me again. You know what I mean?
Play Power Trip by J. Cole.
Yeah. Bro, it was like, yo, it was crazy. So I understand that, and like kind of looking back at my own life, I'm just like, yeah, like I had moments like in the early Gen Z, I guess, where I'm just like, no, I'm not gonna take this. Like, what is it?
Yo, you know what's crazy? You don't know what my first job was, bro?
What was it?
Bro, you ain't ever gonna guess where I worked, bro. I worked at Popeyes, bro.
Dang,
I was
bro.
serving fried chicken.
Bro, you worked in the hood establishment, dog. That's
bro.
crazy.
Yo, Popeyes was wild, bro. Let me tell you some things, bro. Yo, but I'm not gonna lie. I had this one experience one time, bro. That I don't think the lady was yelling at me. She was yelling at like I guess somebody else. It was like taking too long to get her chicken, right? And like, bro, like she was like kind of rude, so we gave her like a free drink or whatever. The manager gave her a free drink. I think she was more so pointing her anger towards the manager. Bro, there was a guy who came up after. He was like, he was like, bro, I would have never took that, bro. I feel so bad for you, bro. This man gave me his card. He was like, yo, you can get a job here at this place. I could hook you up, yo. I'll help you start your whole career. I was like, bro, I'm a freshman in college, like it's all good. But yo, that man was ready to like give me everything, bro, because of that. I was like, yo, it got some real people out there, bro.
Yo, that's so funny. I think one of the biggest complaints one of the biggest complaints I think we touched on a little bit about Gen Z from other generations is that Gen Z is uncomfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right. So like I was reading an article by the Gospel Coalition probably like a few weeks ago, and it was pretty much just saying like Gen Z is just so much more willing to give up, not willing to go through hard things. And like obviously the Gospel Coalition was comparing it to like, the gospel and the Christian life, where like going through hard things is necessary because like obviously Jesus promises us that, hey, like in this world we will have tribulation, but the hope in that is to be like, hey, like trust in Jesus. Here's the hope in his life and in the next as well. And so I guess I want to ask, like, do you think that we are uncomfortable with being uncomfortable?
Oof. So I guess there's two edges to this sword, right? Like, I want to say yes, right? And I guess the reason I want to say yes here is because I'm not trying to offend anybody who is a millennial, but like this is just literally my own personal experience. I've noticed is like I feel like we grew up around the same time as millennials, right? Like late millennials. They're the generation right before us, right? And I feel like from not all the millennials, but the majority of the millennials I've seen, that saying would fit them. Like they're just not comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? Like and I feel like a lot of us have noticed that they were like that, and I feel like Gen Zers or Zoomers, if you must, are a lot more comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? In terms of like in terms of like work, in terms of just achieving things, in terms of like just having to go the extra mile to do something. Like I just think about all the people I went to college with, right? Like I feel like there's so many people I knew that were like working full time or like going to school, like paying for their tuition. Even in high school, bro, I knew kids that would literally go to school, then go home and go work, and help pay the bills for their parents, like
Yeah.
that was like normal. That was like a normal thing. Like I feel like I went to school with a lot, like in college, I went to school with people who were millennials, and bro, from the second they got to school, they're complaining about like student debt. They're complaining about like, you're not going to have a job after they graduate. And to be honest, Gen Z does that too. But like, I feel like we're just a little bit more willing, to just go the extra mile, right? Like look at yourself, right? Like this man works full time. This man got 2 cats. Yo, he got a YouTube channel. He grinds on podcasts. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the regular, right? Like I feel like everybody in our generation is trying to get it somehow, like working 2 jobs, having side hustles on the side, business, DoorDash. Like I can't think of a single person I know that's not doing multiple things just to get by, right? Like who's another example? Josh, right? That man works. He volunteers for like 6 different ministries. Like, he was doing. He got his master's by like 23. Like, like my boy Josh he's really getting it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I never heard that man complain one time, bro. Ever. Like I'm gonna be honest with you. I've heard people complain, but that man has never complained about life circumstances. Like, like this is probably some of his own personal information, but I'm gonna share it because Josh, my boy, right? Like, bro, that man's dad had a heart attack, bro, and he just trusted God and moved on. Like he didn't trip over it. He prayed. He's like, brothers, I need prayer, and he about his business. You know what I'm saying? And obviously, I'm not saying everybody has to be like a robot or anything like that, right? But like at the point in time, I feel like Gen Z, when faced with like issues, we're just willing to adapt and move on. I don't hear a lot of sitting and sulking at all, and we're the generation with the most college debt, bro, of all time. So like I see people being crafty, people being clever and trying new things and learning new things, but at the same time, we are a generation now where it's like we're entering the workforce. We're getting more financial mobility, and we do tend to waste some money too, a lot of money too. So yeah, man, I guess that's my 2 cents. I probably might be like wrong, maybe, but like again, this is totally anecdotal. This is what I've noticed and seen.
I feel like I might have a controversial take, but I feel like with the complaints that the generation before us is having about Gen Z and saying that we're like, we don't want to be uncomfortable, like we don't want to struggle and stuff. Like, I think if you're complaining, then could it be that it's only a reflection of the generation before us? Because I feel like when it comes to like passing down things, right? Did the millennials do a bad job in passing down the traits that are needed for us to thrive the way that we should be? And so if the complaints are happening, it's like you probably only have yourself to blame for this. If we that way, you know what I mean? Like
it could be that, right? It could be that, or it could be like just like they took some things from like the Gen X, the millennials, and then they like our parents like kind of just like saw and adapted to it, maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I'm not going to teach my child this. I am going to teach my child this.
Yeah. No, I think that's true.
Bro, millennials were able to buy houses for like 200K, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, millennials were in 2015, bro, houses in Jersey were like 150, 200, 250, bro. Like, I don't want to hear it, bro. If you were born before 97, bro, like you had an opportunity to buy a cheap house, bro.
Yo, I ain't gotta live.
As soon as I got into the workforce, COVID hit, bro. As
Bro.
soon as I got into the workforce.
Yo, thanks, bro. Like, that's true. Nah, Gen Z has. I feel like Gen Z just has it the hardest of all time.
I know for a fact people are gonna be mad at what I just said, but it's facts, and nobody can deny that, bro. 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, bro, even 2019, bro. Houses were cheap, bro.
Dang, bro, you about to get
I'm heated, bro. I'm heated.
Bro, I think another thing that like I will say that another thing that probably millennials are probably right about Gen Z is that we probably are the loneliest generation, right? I think with like, social media is a great thing. Like, I think like you can make a whole living off of social media. You can take care of your family off of social media.
But that's about to be you in like a year, bro. I'm prophesying over you, bro.
Oh, keep me in your prayers, dog. But like, I think with that, right, you see a whole bunch where it's like we're connected to so many people, yet like trying to have real like interpersonal, personal, real life relationships, or just like it can be a struggle. You know what I mean? For Gen Z, right? And I would say this. Like, I would say this even for myself, like who like I have friends in person, like I meet with friends in person, but like sometimes it could just be hard to just like.
Yo, tell the people, right? How long you ain't see me before my birthday, bro? Tell them.
Hey, tell them. Don't bring this personal conflict to this podcast.
yo, tell them. Let the people know, bro. The real Elijah Crouch, bro.
An hour away. But yeah, no, like I think like it could just be it's just harder. You know what I mean? I think social media is partly to blame for that. If you don't have a healthy boundary with social media, like sometimes like you feel like you can have everything you need on the social sphere that you forget about the outside world. I think this is one of the things like so. This is the whole side note. Being in the anime world, being in the world where like people really love anime and they will binge watch anime all night and sleep all day and then binge watch anime again. I think that's one of the things where like my generation specifically, which I think is a great thing that anime has become more mainstream, a bad thing that's become more mainstream because like you can get more like, you can get more to yourself to be like, hey, I have everything that I need, so I'm not going to interact with the world.
Deodorant sales went down too since that happened, bro. Saying I'm just joking. Yo,
I'm dead. He coming crazy. But like, no. But all I have to say, like, I think like, Gen Z does struggle with loneliness, how to connect with people, how to be around people, and I think like, I wish I could say what is the answer to make that better, but the fact that the generation before us isn't necessarily trying to help that at all. Just everyone, but I'm saying like instead of critiquing what are necessarily the solutions for it to make that better, I don't know where they at. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yo, you know what's another issue I guess with Gen Z, bro? Like with our generation that I actually say is kind of true. Like I feel like with the advent of social media and like fast technology, basically, like we really do want to be rewarded a little too quickly. And I think that plays into like the hopping from job to job thing and moving up, because a lot of us just want what some people grinded 30-40 years for to get. We want it in like 5 years, because I maybe we are too hopeful. Maybe we are very, very optimistic, and that drives us to have that type of ambition. But like, I know people that get very, very upset that they've been working, a couple years, and they're like, I'm not where I want to be. And I think that's a really, really big issue with Gen Z in our generation, because we are so like full of the grind, right? And we're thinking like it's like how everything's been for us, right? Like. We just follow a formula and the path is linear like a step, and life isn't like that, and as a man especially, I feel like that plays into like you need to practice delayed gratification, like and like to bring this back to the gospel, right? The life of Jesus, right? That is total perfect image of what delayed gratification should be, right? Jesus didn't put his gratification first. Like, I know this is quoted on every single Christian podcast known to man, but bro, Jesus wept. He wept tears of blood. You know, like, that's in agony, right? Like he said, not my will, fathers, but yours be done. And as a Christian, bro, like, that is something we must be telling ourselves. Gen Z, Gen X, Boomer, not my will, but yours be done. And again, like, that I feel like that's the one of the biggest issues with our generation right now, is that we have issues with instant gratification because of, you know, push notifications on our phone, because of video games, because of, you know, people told us go to college, go for 4 years, and you end up having a good life, good job, but success has never been linear, and that's just something that we as like Christians and Christian men really have to deal with, and attack that head on, like, seriously.
Yeah. Oh, is your mic good?
Yo, you hear me? Is it like buzzing like crazy or something?
A little bit.
Yeah, I don't know. I just started hearing it buzz. I don't know. I really don't know. Oh, let me unplug it.
Cool. Why is it plugging that? Yeah, no, I get that. I think it reminds me of this verse. It reminds me of this verse in Hebrews, where the writer of Hebrews talks about for the joy set before Jesus, he endured the cross. And I think, like, you know, delaying gratification, like you said, we want what we want now, right? I think, like, you know, I deal with this a lot where I'm like, yo, I need 100 bands in my bank account right now, right? I need 100 subs on my Instagram, on my YouTube right now. I need to be the most poppin' anime YouTuber in YouTube right now. And I think, like, the thing is like, it kind of like you have your goal, your eyes so set on, like, the, you know, the prize, that you just, like, ignore the grind, you ignore the endurance of it. And I think, like, kind of taking a picture of Jesus, where it's like, if he ignored, maybe, like, he's God, so he could do whatever he wants, right? But, like, I don't get that picture of, like, hey, if Jesus did not endure the fact that he went to the cross for us, he endured everything on our behalf. I'm talking about whipping, you know, being shamed, having his beard pulled out, being nailed to a cross. Like, if he didn't do that, would he be able to receive the joy before him, which is us, like, people that have placed faith in him? Maybe not. I'm not too sure. I mean, Jesus is God, so I'm not gonna say anything heretical. But I'm like, hey, like, that's a great example of of delayed gratification. Like, if you want to work towards something, get after it, right? You can wait. You can work hard, and when you grind, it'll get to you at some point. You know what I mean? That's all I got. But your mic was I think off a little bit. Can't hear you.
There we go. Yeah. Yeah, that man preaching today, bro. Like he came to preach. They call him Preacher Crouch, bro.
Nah, that's just
yeah, bro. So that reminds me of a scripture in Romans, because, you know, this is probably one of my favorite books in the Bible, bro. Because it's all about suffering, bro. Like, I don't know. That sounds kind of like weird that I was talking about suffering, but, like, bro, I feel like outside of the gospel, like, that's my biggest emphasis on my public Christianity, is the suffering side, right? Because I don't know, I feel like there's something so, like, necessary in it, right? Because you're not guaranteed happiness ever, right? You're never guaranteed happiness, because happiness is really subjective. You can feel it, you can't, right? But you are guaranteed suffering, like, without a shadow of a doubt. If Jesus in all his perfection suffered, right, we are going to suffer in this life, right? And the good thing is, we have Jesus walking with us in this life, right? Especially the Christian, right? The Christian isn't just called to a life of happiness and greatness and all these. You're called to excellence, but joy. your joy comes from Jesus. What does that mean? Even in the face of my suffering, I choose Jesus over myself in that moment. Like,
Mm.
like he must be so forefront in my mind that I could be going through the worst possible situation, and then I have to like connect the dots that this is the best possible situation because it is according to God's perfect will, right? So it brought up the scripture. It's Romans 5:3-5, right? It says, not only that, but we rejoice in the sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope. Hope does that hope that and hope does not put us to shame, because God's love has been poured into our hearts through the Holy Spirit who has been given to us. And yeah, man, this word endurance is just like it just jumps out at me because it's like, as a fellow runner, you know this feeling when you're running, bro, and you just want to finish. You just want to finish, but you're like, I gotta get through this because the next time I don't want to feel this pain. It's
Yeah.
like it's like that is what the Christian life is, right? The Christian life is knowing that Jesus has called us to a life to follow him, and in that he tells us like there will be tribulations. John, as you mentioned earlier in this podcast, this is something you memorized. John 16:33. Take heart. He's like, you will have tribulations, but take heart, I have overcome the world.
Mm.
So the one who made the world and is holding the world and sustaining the world, the one who was sent into the world and crucified in the world and resurrected out of the world, is telling you, is personally telling you, I have overcome it for you. So yeah, man, as a Christian Zoomer, the Christian Zoomer, man, my advice is, man, don't just look for comfort. We said Gen Z is good at seeking discomfort and pushing through it in adversity. But the flip side of that is that in that adversity, we saw that there is some sort of level of fast reward that we want. But like, keep pushing through your darkest days, because Jesus will sustain you through every dark day you have. And there's hope. There's hope in that suffering. And if you don't get your earthly blessing soon, there's a heavenly blessing waiting for you, and that is infinitely better, right? Infinitely better. So, yeah, man. So kind of bring this back to one point here. It's just like, yeah, Jesus didn't look for his instant gratification. We are to imitate Christ. Seek him even in every circumstance, and just push through it.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, with that being said, right? I think like probably a good question to end on is like, when it comes to suffering, when it comes to looking at Jesus as the one who is perfect in everything and has suffered. When Gen Z looks at Jesus, are we more for the gospel, or are we more against the gospel? Because with some people, they would say that Gen Z, like, we are just godless, like, we want God, we don't need God, we do everything ourselves. But if we're being honest, there's people like that in every generation. So yeah, do you think Gen Z is like more on fire for God? Like we saw Asbury Revival, right? Like a couple weeks worshiping Jesus, just being there, and not sure what the fruit from that will come from that, but I'm sure something will happen from that, right? Yeah, and I think with being in ministry, I often hear about like, hey, like Gen Z college people, they just don't want Jesus. Guys don't want to be in the church anymore. Like, what are your thoughts on all of that?
Bro, so I just pulled it up, right? And it says Gen Z is actually the least religious religion, right? And bro, it's crazy because I don't know if this has to do with Gen Z in general, or if because if you look, I'm looking at this graph here, and the data is showing that each generation has gotten less Christian going down, right? The silent generation was 50% Protestant, then 41% for boomers, 32 for Gen X, 24 for millennials, and 22 for Gen Z. And knowing a little bit of data science here, I could make an argument here that it only went down 2% from millennial to Gen Z. So like we have the least lost and the greatest retention of Christian. That's how I view that data set, right? Somebody else might write a whole article reading this and say Gen Z is least godly, right? But I look at this and say, from let's go back to the oldest data set, silent generation to boomer, right? 50% to 41%. That is a 9% decrease. Next, same thing, boomer to Gen X, 41 to 32. That is another 9% decrease, right? Gen X to millennials, that is 32 to 24, 8% decrease. So we see a little more retention there, right? So then we get to millennial Gen Z, 24 to 22%. That is 2% loss. That is 7% greater retention rate than the most Christian generation. So to me, that data says a lot. It says that Christianity is not a gimmick, right? Even in the face of a decrease, even in the face of us becoming less religious, Christianity is holding up. The gospel doesn't need a gimmick, and I think throughout human history we've seen a level of like nominal Christianity. We've seen forced Christianity through like culture, through government, and it's never worked. And I see a big setup for a great revival coming, man. Like because this 22%, a lot, there's the greatest retention in those last couple generations. That means that these 22%, this is just a really big generalization I'm making here, but that 22% has the fire, man. That 22% isn't 20. It's hanging on, right? As these articles are saying, it's hanging on, right? So when people are clutching to the gospel, right? The Bible says, "In your weakness, my power is made perfect." So hanging on, I feel like that's in our weakness, right? Yeah. If Christ's power is manifested in perfection, bro, I feel like we're setting up for a great revival, a non-nominal, full of fire, fervent for the gospel revival.
Yeah, no, I believe that too, bro. I think honestly, bro, you remember that? I won't mention. No, scrap that. I'm not even gonna say it at all. But But no, I agree. I think that Gen Z is on the uptick of just an authentic Christianity, right? Because I think like so often like the complaint from the church is that like it just felt like the Christians or Christianity felt like such a hypocritical like religion, right? For many Gen Z or just even millennials that are saying like, hey, like the Christian church isn't what they promoted to us, like, and now they like when we got into the Christian church, they bait and switch, and they just turned out to be not who we thought they were. So yeah. I think, to be honest, I feel like Gen Z saw so much of what so much of a Christianity that wasn't like how it should be promoted, and that when they come to actually believe and trust in Jesus and the gospel, that they're just like, hey, this is the real thing, and I know it's the real thing because I saw the fake one, right? And this is or anything I have been fakely walking with Jesus. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm saying that there have been some instances where Gen Z is, I think, very much with like, hey, like I'm not down for the fakeness, you know what I mean? Like, authentic thing, and if the real authentic thing is Jesus and his gospel and what I'm seeing through the scriptures, I'm hanging on to that because I know what like, you know what I mean? So I think honestly, Gen Z is set up to do something very big. I was in the YouTube verse, right? I don't know if you know him, the guy, the streamer Gideon.
Yeah, bro.
He recently gave his life to Jesus.
Yo, what you know about Gideon, bro?
I know.
I'm about to tell your job you was watching Gideon, bro.
Bro, I barely know nothing, but I know this. He is like 22, 23 years old, right? him, same with Young Don, right? He is probably our age, maybe a little
Bro,
bit
what
younger.
about Ryan Trahan, bro?
Bro,
Arguably, probably the biggest YouTuber in the world right now.
son, and I'm saying, yo, I'm just like, I'm thinking that God is doing something amazing with Gen Z, despite what the older generations are saying. Like they're saying, like, hey, like Gen Z doesn't want God, but you see Gen Z wanting God. You see Gen Z wanting Jesus, and I think like God's using that, right? I don't know how,
Yeah,
and I don't know what that will look like, 10, 20 years from now. But I know like there's a search for authenticity. There's a search
yeah,
for a hole to fill. And that Gen Z it's a big gaping hole because we fill ourselves with so many things, right?
yeah, yeah.
Social media, instant gratification, getting money, getting power, getting all these different things. That I think the thing that the human heart always struggles with, but Gen Z has so much more in our face with social media and just all these different things where it's like all these things will leave you empty, yet you have something being promoted to you saying like, hey, this can fill me. And I think Gen Z wants that and desires that. And I think when they get introduced to the real gospel and realizing that, hey, nothing else in this world can fill you except Jesus, I think Gen
So
Z
so
would,
so you know what I think has a big impact on that, why it is like this. So think about yourself here for a second, right? um I know we joke about this all the time, like cage crouch, right? Like we say that, but like you're not the only person that's been through that, right? That I feel like that's a huge huge thing that went through in like the context of like non-majority culture, like Christians, right? Gen Z, right? Specifically, like if you put all that intersectionality together, right? I feel like what you've experienced in your Christian walk is very similar to a lot of other people, right? So
yeah,
we went through this period where, and I was the extreme opposite, right? Like you're coming from more of the reform side, I was coming from the charismatic side, and we've talked about this before where we had to kind of like deconstructs some of the things that we believe that were
bro.
it may not have been biblical, and reconstruct it with stronger theological values, right? And media has a lot to do this because a lot of us grew up watching what was just on TV, on the Bible Network, on TBN, and we believed whatever we saw, right? Or we only believed what we heard at church, right? But
Yeah.
now we're connected to this greater media that is helping us realize like things are different, things are different than what we've been told. Like, bro, I think it has to be Lecrae has to be probably the biggest voice in this space that spoke on this kind of thing. Like Lecrae broke down a lot of barriers, right? Like to talking about how we need to contextualize this gospel. I think in the mainstream Christendom, like in terms of media, Lecrae was the biggest voice on this, and the church chastised him, bro. The church like say he's a heretic. He's preaching falseness to the youth, all kinds of stuff. They told him, right? Lecrae, guys like Tim Keller, they contextualize the gospel, and we have a generation that had Tim Keller on Twitter up until he died, bro. You know what I'm saying? We had access to Tim Keller. We had access to Lecrae's music. It wasn't like he said something on a song and then our parents told us to take it off, or they took the CD. We had Spotify, we have Apple Music, we have YouTube. Like we had access to all of these guys speaking about a whole different thing that no one in our society was speaking on. What it means to be a black or brown person in a majority culture Christianity, right? Like, and I know that sounds really controversial, but like these things have helped us create like a very unique gospel circumstance for our generation. People like you have access now to world-class seminaries, and to follow and follow this thought and really hone in and deliver that thought. Look at like Josh, you know what I'm saying? Like our experiences were unique, and we have access to that, and the media has played a huge part in that, bro.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's
a
good.
good episode, bro.
Yeah.
This is good,
bro. I mean, yo, we got a few minutes left, but man, with that being said, Gen Z, I am very hopeful for you. As being a part of Gen Z, I'm hopeful for myself, right? Because I think, amongst the deconstruction that's happening, I think that's honestly, I feel like it's more a millennial type thing anyway. Um, but Gen Z does go through it, right? And I think, but within all of that, I think there's real hope that we are finding the real Jesus, we are finding the real gospel and clinging to that. And I think despite what the older Christians may say that America and the U.S. and the West is going to hell in a handbasket, I feel like I'm hopeful for it, right? I think like Jesus saves, right? I think obviously America isn't the great kingdom. Only God's kingdom is the great kingdom, right?
This man preaching Christian nationalism, bro.
but I do think that, hey, like God can raise up. I'm hoping that He will raise up then people in this generation that really, really love Him. I think doing that despite what your favorite right wing conservative Calvinist says. Anyway,
yo, you're a whole different person, bro.
Any last stuff to hop on, bro?
Nah, bro. It's been a good episode, man. We coming crazy the rest of the season. We got 7 episodes left. Tap in DMs, comments. Let us know what you want us to talk about. If you got any suggestions of who you guys want to hear on the podcast, like, bring them on, bro. Like, I know we had Timothy Brindle a few seasons ago. If y'all want Shy, man, just let us know. If y'all want Shy Lynn to pop on the podcast, let us know. We'll try to make that happen. Like,
yo, he got out too. Like, yo,
if y'all want Zay Hill again, let us know, man. Let us know. We're happy to bring some people on. If y'all want my boy Rain the Governor, bro, back on, bro. You already know. Bro, that was one of my favorite episodes, bro. That was one of my favorite episodes. but it's been real. If you take offense to anything we said, we praying for you. Say not. I apologize. Everything has been pretty anecdotal that we're talked about. We got love for everybody, but yeah, man. We just trying to do God's work out here. We trying to serve the community. Tap in with us. Hit the subscribe button, like, comment, follow Anime Related on YouTube. Oh no, Anime Relatable. So my bad. I misquoted you, bro.
Ain't got to follow none of that.
Yo, get this man to 1,000 subs, bro. Get him to 1,000 subs. Because once this man pops off, we all eating, bro. Hire me, bro. I'm gonna work for you, bro.
Yo, I'm dead. Nah, but we are out of here. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you guys in the next one.